Hi everyone, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. The topic for today's webinar is video interviewing. That's the feature we're going to be talking about in today's webinar. And my name is Kumud and I will be your presenter for today. As far as the goal of today's webinar is concerned, we're going to be talking about the video interviewing feature. And this in fact came as a feedback from a lot of our customers who wanted to have this feature included within TargetRecruit. And we did our R&D and we thought it's a very good feature to have considering the new trends in the hiring process. And it's now a part of TargetRecruit functionality. And we're very excited to announce this new feature. We've scheduled 30 minutes for this webinar. I'm going to be giving you a quick introduction to video interviewing as a feature, and then I'll be jumping into the demonstration and talk about how this feature works within TargetRecruit. As I'm going through the webinar, if any of you have any questions, please feel free to type in your questions in the chat window, and we can cover your questions as we go. That's me. Like I said, I will be a presenter for today, and just a quick background about myself. I've been with the company for a little over 8 years now, and I've been a part of both sales and the implementation team throughout my tenure at this company. And I'll be more than glad to address any questions that any of you might have for me today and talk about how we can map your business process within TargetRecruit. Now, we're going to be also sharing a video with you in the chat window. And this is a video that was recently released, which talks about how this functionality works within TargetRecruit. I'm not going to be able to play that in this webinar, but we'll be sharing this link. And please, when you have some time, review that link. And that gives you an idea in terms of what this feature is all about, how it works, and so on. So that's going to help to understand how this feature works within TargetRecruit. Now, talking about video interview as a feature, hiring practice, it's changed dramatically in the last few years. And I'm sure all of you agree with me, because a lot of companies have, they are facing larger amount of candidates and they feel forced to rely on various software programs to achieve their goal, which is to hire great talent quickly and at a cheaper cost as well. Now, a survey by Software Advice suggests that 60% of the recruiters prefer to use video interviews in their hiring process, and close to 57% of the applicants, they prefer live interview sessions, and that is a proof in itself to validate that digital interview is not a temporary craze. It's in fact a trend to stay. It is, in fact, set to redefine the future of recruitment, and this is a trend that's only going to intensify in 2018. Now, we are providing this feature to you through a third-party application called Expert Review. That's the third-party app that we have integrated with to provide this feature. You need to have an integration, or rather, you need to have a subscription with this company, and we'll give you more details in terms of how this model works and so on. But you have to have a contract with them. And the same subscription is going to be, integrated with TargetRecruit for you to use this feature. What are the benefits? Now, one of the benefits from the recruiter's perspective is that it saves a tremendous amount of time and thus increases the productivity, because they would not have to take the time off in order to attend a face-to-face interview. And also, we've noticed that a lot of passive candidates would be motivated to apply to the jobs because of this particular functionality. And also, using this add-on, you can pre-record your questions and you can watch and listen to the candidates' questions at your own time. It's going to be on the branded interface too. And I'll show you what exactly I mean by saying that. It also gives the interviewer a better understanding of the candidate's personality, whether it is the body language or the behavior or communication style, what have you. It even reduces the travel costs as well, especially if you are scheduling interviews with the candidates who are from overseas. You don't really have to spend a lot in terms of travel and so on. It saves a whole lot of time. And most importantly, it will even help the the managers to compare the candidates based on the interviews and make an informed decision in terms of who the best candidate is. Those are some of the benefits. And also, one of the points I also want to mention is the fact that these videos, which are recorded, they get saved on Expert Review server. they're not saved on Salesforce server, so it does not take up any storage space whatsoever within Salesforce. So that's one of the added advantage that you have. Now let's jump right into the demonstration of how exactly this feature works. Now, in order to do that, let me jump to my demo org. I'm going to pick a job here. So let's just pick this job. It's a typical job where I have all the information I'm tracking from the job's perspective. I have the title, I have the hiring manager, I also have the description and so on and so forth. I've collapsed all these details. Now, the first step that you need to follow is to add the questions. So you have to click on this questionnaire tab and build that form, which are a set of questions specific to this job, right? That is the first step. Now, once you have built that questionnaire, all of those questions will be available within the job here in the questions tab. So let me click on that. So these are the various questions. Now I click on view all. As a default, when these questions are added, the questionnaire type for them will be job application questionnaire. You will have to choose this and you will have to change the type as a video interview questionnaire. We'll in fact give you step-by-step instructions in terms of how to go about making these changes, but it's just a one-time change. Now, once these questions have been added, the next step in the process is for you to choose those questions, enable video interview. Click on that button. Okay, you have to enable the questions in order for them to be available for the video interview process. Now click on OK. So that is what you have to manage within the job record. Next step, let's go to the job applicants. So I'm going to pick one of the applicant records. I'm going to choose this applicant record here for Eldon Berggren. Now on the applicant record, again, on the applicant record, you get to track who the candidate is, what's the job title, what is the stage, and so on. Now you have to click on schedule video interview button on the applicant record. So let me click on that. Okay, now this is the interface you will land on. Internal system will allow you to access the questionnaire questions which you added for that specific job. External system will allow you to access the questions which are coming from expert review. So expert review package subscription, they have their own set of questions in terms of if it's a technical question, if it's a communication skill related questions. So they have different categories of questions you can choose to access when you click on external system as the option. But I'm going to choose internal system and let's choose all the questions. Let me just choose all the questions, right? Now I add to list. Okay, they have now been added. Now, as a next step, I just have to check all the boxes for the questions that I would want to send out as a video interview to the candidate and choose the interview length. You wouldn't want to give 10 minutes as the interview length. If you have 20 questions, you would want to increase it. So let's just make it 30 minutes and I click on send questions. Okay, now when I do that, this is the message you would get. Interview has been scheduled with selected questions. An interview link will be valid for the next 4 days from now for the candidate to answer. Now, whoever is the candidate, you know, the email will be sent to the email address which is tagged to that particular candidate. So let me show you how that interface is going to look. Let me, in fact, go to my email. I'll just choose one of them. Okay, so this is the template you would get. Again, the messaging in the template can be completely customized. We can work with you to make sure that, you know, we add the appropriate details within these templates. But what the candidate needs to do is to make sure that they are adding these plugins before they start the interview. Right, so those are the instructions right there. I have gone ahead and done that already for the purpose of this webinar. So I'll just start my interview. Click here to start the interview. Okay, so let me start this here. So this would redirect me to the expert review interface where they'll have to, so this is me as a candidate that is going through the interview process, the video interview process. Okay, so the candidate will have to confirm. Click here to start the interview. enable screen capture, pretty much go through. So that's me right there. Go through all the details, check the boxes, click next, and go through all of the details. So I'm just going to go through this, answer all the questions. There you go. You have it there. So whatever number of questions you have given. So for some of these questions, as you can see, you'll have to speak now. So that also gets recorded. That gets recorded too for the next question. Okay. So whatever they're speaking, that gets recorded. Click on submit and say yes. Okay. And that is the message the candidate would get. So this is the candidate interface. This is what the candidate goes through in order to, answer the video interview questions. Now, the recruiter will be notified once this interview is complete. And on the applicant record, if I go back to the job applicant record, to the same job, let me just choose the same applicant record, which is this one. So on the applicant record, I'm going to choose the interview that was scheduled. So that is the interview. I click on it. And if you notice, the status here is scheduled because the interview questions are not reviewed yet by the recruiter. And what the recruiter now needs to do is click View Video Interview Results. When they click that button, they'll get to see all of the answers which the candidate answered, along with the video clips that they answered for each of those specific questions. And they can even click the View full video button, and that will give them the complete video that was captured during the entire time they answered the video interviews, including, from the first question. So once they have reviewed this, they click on this back button, and back on the interview record that I showed you earlier, if I refresh this, the status now would automatically change to completed because it is now reviewed. So this is a trigger that has been added in the back end so that you will be able to track which of the candidates have gone through these video interview questions and they've submitted it and it is not reviewed yet by the recruiter. So we can even run reports and let you know, here are the 5 video interview questions which have been submitted. It now needs to be reviewed. So we can send out email notifications to recruiters too. So that is how you need to make use of this feature within TargetRecruit. And again, on the job applicant record, maybe there are multiple applicant records you have for the job. You can schedule multiple interviews for each of the applicants, and you can manage the complete process. And depending on whether they have gone through or they've been shortlisted, or if you now want to convert and place the candidate, those steps can be managed at the job applicant record level. You can just click on convert to placement and you can go ahead and place a candidate if they have gone through the video interview process. That is how you go about using this functionality within TargetRecruit. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have, and if you want me to reiterate some of these features, if you want me to go through some of these features once again, let me know. I'll be more than glad to go through that. I hope this session was helpful in understanding how this functionality works within TargetRecruit, but I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you might have for me. I'm going to leave the platform open for some more time in case you have any questions, and we are going to be sending this recorded webinar link to you. You can have it forwarded to your colleagues internally, or if you need to go through one more session with us to understand how this functionality works, depending on your business process, what's the best way to have it implemented, we can discuss this in detail. And we can also put you in touch with the expert review team to understand the pricing, how each of these, how the pricing model works and the subscriptions and so on. We can put you in touch with the right point of contact at the expert review team. Just let us know. And we will also reach out to you after this webinar to get some feedback in terms of what would you think. If there are any additional features you would like to see added, please feel free to suggest the functionalities to us. We're open to suggestions. All right. Thank you so much, all of you, for your time today. And hopefully we get to see all of you implementing this feature within TargetRecruit as soon as possible. Thanks once again and have a good day. Bye-bye.